this takes place in at the same time, over some coffee, share some ideas about what they do as businesses, and introduce their businesses to the community. So every month, every Wednesday, we have two businesses standing up here presenting for 10 minutes?
We have 6 minutes.
6 minutes. And just to be really, I don't see you enforcing that 6 minutes, or you are.
Oh, we're hard on that 6 minutes.
Yeah, so it is 6 minutes, and 6 minutes and 2 seconds is really 2 seconds too many after that. And then you have a Q&A, and in the middle you have sponsors that Isabel or somebody else will introduce.
Yes.
And we like for you to use the app and check in. I do, and I'll be doing it right now because you get a chance to see who is also here, and you can communicate and network with them.
Fantastic! Squire, I'm going to give you one of these. You deserve this. Squire, this is for you.
Oh,
Yeah, it's for me today. You're welcome.
you should do it. You'll get a cup.
There you go. Awesome. You can leave your feedback in the app after the presenter is finished. Okay, so our first presenter to the stage is Barbara, and she's from a company called Bubbl. Some of you may have seen their cars driving around the city already. Barbara, I'd like you to come up and tell us about your business. Don't worry, we won't start timing until you actually start speaking. Welcome to the stage. We stand up and we give a round of applause.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Barbara Tunstall, and I'm with a company called Bubbl. And people say, well, what is Bubbl? It's sort of like if an armored car and a ride service had a baby. That's Bubbl. How many of you have aging parents? Raise your hands. How many of you have school-age children? Raise your hands. So Bubbl is an elite transportation service in that all of our drivers are off-duty or retired police officers with a license to carry. A third of our business is kids and special needs families. A third of our business is people like you and me who want to ride to the airport or girls' night out and you don't want to have your car left there. So a third of our business is seniors who don't drive anymore or don't want to drive. So we own all of our own vehicles, and all of our drivers, even though they're police officers, they're Bubbl employees, fully vetted. We actually use the Dallas Police Department, their resources to vet our officers. So we're a little over 2 years old. Pardon me, we gave our 45,000th ride last month.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. Bubbl has actually 3 services. We have our regular Bubbl ride service, which we actually allow some of our partners to advertise on our Bubbl cars. We have our Bubbl Premium, which some of our seniors use to go to galas and pick up folks at the airport. And then we have our Bubbl Courier service, which is a delivery service for payroll throughout the city. A lot of restaurants, a lot of their employees don't have direct deposit, so they need a paper check. We also deliver jewelry from the manufacturer into jewelry stores. And we also deliver legal documents for a very large realtor in town. So Bubbl started about 2 years ago when Captain Craig Miller, who is over the DISD now, he was a deputy chief of police and noticed the need to transport children safely. So he partnered with the 3 gentlemen that I worked for, and Bubbl was born. So within the first week, we started transporting children, and that mom called and said, you know, I know you just picked up my son Joey, but my mom needs to go to the doctor, and I need to get my husband to the airport. So will Bubbl do those rides? And to this date, that is still our business model. So, pardon me, Bubbl currently serves most of Dallas County, Denton County, and Collin County, where we have more than 100 police officers on our payroll, male and female, and we're 24/7. The main difference is that we're a pre-scheduled ride. We're not on demand. So a lot of our seniors have their entire year scheduled with Bubbl. A lot of moms and dads use Bubbl every day to pick up their children at school or to take them to dance or piano. But you don't have to use Bubbl every day. You can use Bubbl once in a while. Again, we're just a pre-scheduled ride. So that's Bubbl, and we are rides driven by Blue.
Awesome job. So then we're going to go into Q&A. How it works is I bring the microphone around, and then y'all can kind of raise your hand, say your name before you ask the question. So first question, my name is Chris. I'm with the 1 Million Cups team. As a community, what can we do for you?
I'm currently partnering with a lot of nonprofits to try to provide funding for some of those folks who can't afford to ride in the Bubbl. We're very conscious of the fact that our flat fee, $17 one way, may be expensive for some folks, whether it's a senior on fixed income or a single parent. So if you could direct me towards some nonprofits that you might know that we could partner with, that would be terrific.
Thank you very much. My name is Wael Dukmak, and my question is, how are you planning to expand in other markets, if you are, and what would be your competitive edge against some others replicating what you're doing in markets that you wish to go into?
We are planning to expand into 10 additional cities in the next year. We currently expanded into Austin on a contract basis with an MHMR organization, but we're not open to the public in Austin yet. I don't really consider Bubbl competition really for anybody because there's really not another safe, protected ride with a police officer who will actually, walk your child to the coach or take your mom who has dementia to the doctor and stay with her if you'd like. So I don't really see us as really competing. We have our own niche market, if you would.
What would prevent others? I mean, how would others compete with you? How do you protect against others coming into markets that you like to go into ahead of you? I mean, do you have any competitive, do you have any IP, do you have anything that would prevent others from duplicating what you're doing?
I'm not sure I'm the person to actually answer that question.
You mentioned that your rides are scheduled.
Yes.
What kind of a lead time before you can schedule the ride? How many hours, days, or?
We like to know the day before. If it's a person who we have more than 6,000 regular monthly users of Bubbl. So we'll try to accommodate them if they give us a couple hours notice. But in general, we prefer that people book their Bubbl rides the week before.
Pricing. You mentioned $17 for a ride, and that's going a mile or going 30 miles. Can you talk more about your pricing compared to others?
Sure. When we started in the Park Cities, that became our original Dallas Bubbl, and it actually serves Forest Lane south to downtown. And as long as you stay in the Bubbl, it's $17 one way for two people. The pricing changes when you want to leave the Bubbl, and that becomes time and distance, just like other services charge. And it could be also on the day of the week. So we have a second Bubbl, which we call our Castle Hills Bubbl. That's the first place we expanded after the Park Cities Bubbl. And then that Bubbl includes Carrollton, Farmers Branch, Richardson, Plano, and goes north to 121 basically. And then our Frisco Bubbl, when we opened the Frisco ISD and started transporting their special needs kids, we opened our Frisco Bubbl, which includes most of, well, all the schools in Frisco basically, some of Little Elm, the Colony, Allen, and McKinney. So as long as you stay in your bubble, which we did research and find that most people stay within their bubble, it's $17 one way for 2 people. So brother and sister, husband and wife, an 18-year-old with their little sister, because you have to be 8 years old to ride in the bubble car alone with our driver.
But here, let me just ask, like, for example, going from, say, Preston Hollow or North Dallas to the airport, to DFW. And I know you said it's going to vary based on the day and time, but can you ballpark maybe?
Pardon me, the airport rides, we have a set fee, and from our original Dallas bubble, I believe it's $25 to Love Field and $50 to DFW. And then from other bubbles, it's $60 to DFW and $70 out of DFW because of the different airport fees. And I believe the Love Field rate is $50 from the other 2 bubbles.
My grandmother actually used, or tried, she called, you're all the rage, it's the Cooper Rotary Center, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mean to necessarily, but she called, she got a quote for going from her house by the Galleria to the doctor, which was MacArthur and 635, and it was $50 instead. So just to give you all another example of the pricing.
Yes, we actually provide a lot of transportation for seniors. A lot of the top 10 independent living centers in Dallas and Frisco, they have their own transportation, but their residents, each one of them uses Bubbl at least 100 times a month. Assisted living, for example, most of the folks in assisted living that have a Bubbl account, it's because their adult children have set up that account for them, and they will schedule the rides. So the way that that works, if you were an adult child setting up, a lot of millennials are currently doing this, they're setting up a Bubbl account for their parents. And there's your cell phone and your mom's cell phone number if she receives texts. If not, we'll give her a call. But seniors like us because they don't have to download an app. We have an app, or they can book a ride on the website. But they like Bubbl because they can call and talk to a dispatch person. So what happens is you open that account and you get a text that says, driver Mike is on his way to pick up your mom. And your mom gets either a phone call or a text at the same time. Then you get a text that says mom's been picked up. And then you get a text that says mom's been dropped off at the doctor. And then you get a text that says, we have just billed your account $17. So what I find is it restores the relationship between the adult parent and the adult child, because the parent can now go wherever they want to go, and believe me, they're having a lot of fun. So they're going to the museum, they're going to the symphony, they're going to get their hair done, their nails done, and they're not relying for their adult child for transportation anymore. And they both know it's safe. So you automatically know that your mom is going to the doctor. You know that she's picking up her prescriptions because you see all of this in the information that Bubbl provides you with. So we are a white glove service, high touch, if you will. You can tell us in the notes that your mom has dementia and you want us to take her to the doctor, but if she wants to stop at the grocery store and not charge more than $50, we'll honor that. If you tell us that your child has dementia, and to have the radio on the sports station is a trigger for your child, we'll honor that. If you tell us to go around the back, up the stairs, and help your autistic adult child sign in at his job, we'll do that. So you tell us specifically what your needs are, and our goal is to make sure that that ride is the most pleasurable for that passenger as it can possibly be.
Question over here.
Yes.
I'm curious about if you offer any incentives to your regular, loyal people. You're saying if they've scheduled out their entire year, do they benefit in price because they have X amount of rides? And then a second part to that question in terms of incentives is, have you reached out to the local homes that you frequent and say, like, if you are a resident at this home, we would give you a $2 discount per ride? have you set up any accounts like that?
First of all, you can buy a bundle of rides, a bundle of Bubbl rides. And that's 20 rides at $17 a ride for a total of $340. That gives you a 5% discount and one free ride. And a lot of folks do that. Now, that doesn't mean you can only use that for a $17 ride. You can use it to go to the airport, have an evening out. It doesn't matter. It's a credit on your account. And until you use almost all of that up, it's entirely up to you how do you use it. When you get down to a small amount, Bubbl will call and ask if you would like to renew your ride package. We won't charge it unless we call you and get your permission. And so using Bubbl, you can use a credit card, a debit card, or you can pay cash, and tipping is optional. A lot of independent living centers use Bubbl as a way to bring clients to their independent living centers. So again, they're the adult parents not waiting on the adult child to help them tour the property and possibly move in. I have a lot of independent living centers that only use Bubbl for transportation. And doctor's offices use Bubbl. When a client says they don't have transportation to keep their appointment, then they set up the account themselves with Bubbl and they schedule the ride for that patient. We recently partnered with the National Breast Cancer Foundation in Parkland so that we can become that third leg in transportation, so that when that person is diagnosed or they're heading for the hospital for that initial consultation, in the Bubbl car we'll have the Hope Kit, which has, the National Breast Cancer Foundation has found out there's a special tea that helps with nausea. That's in the kit. A journal's in the kit. Socks to keep her feet warmer in the kit. The Bubbl driver will present her with that kit. And on that very last ride, however long it takes, that we find out she's cancer-free, we're going to take her in our Bubbl Bentley for a celebration of life. So there are quite a few nonprofits we partner with. There's a brain injury nonprofit. We partner with the Dallas Children's Advocacy Center in order to keep children safe when they're going to and from therapy. We partner with a nonprofit that provides rides for sex trafficking victims. And there are so many other nonprofits that we could help.
Thank you for your question. We have another question in the back.
Yes.
Hi. So it sounds like you're working with a decent percentage of the aging population. What do you have any? Because it looked like none of your cars were accessible for people in wheelchairs or something of that nature, and maybe that was just the graphic. But do you have any vehicles that someone with, a wheelchair can access, or is that something that you plan to incorporate going forward?
As long as a person is able to transfer themselves, in other words, they're in a collapsible wheelchair, on a collapsible walker, if they're able to transfer themselves in the Bubbl car with the help of the one Bubbl driver, we're happy to help that person. We do not have a lift on our vehicles, and we're not intending to take that on, if you will. But we do a lot of transportation with seniors, whether it's chemotherapy. We have a client we've been taking for chemo, and she wants a taco after her treatment. And so the driver, after he picks her up, will take her down the street to this taco place, and they don't even place the order anymore. They just they see the blue Bubbl on the top of the car, and they start making her meal. The blue Bubbl on top is so that kids can tell that that's their Bubbl ride. We're in more than 90 public and private schools now, so the kids can see that that's their Bubbl ride, and seniors at the airport can see that that's their Bubbl ride.
Quick question.
Yes.
I feel like it's very restrictive, and in a way that because you have to schedule a lot of rides and you're restricted to a lot of areas. Do you have a plan to make it more convenient and accessible to more people?
We have a plan to grow Bubbl in several ways, through the nonprofit community that we serve, and also on a contract basis, so that, for example, when I opened the Dallas Children's Advocacy Center, that gave us enough of a hub in that area to be able to provide rides to areas that we typically don't serve. So on a contract basis with an organization or a corporation, we'll grow our business as we build on the ridership.
We have time for just one more question. Actually, Anne Marie is going to get the last question. Yours is a brand new question. It actually might be very quick. So if we can, then we'll squeeze in Stephanie's question last.
I have seen your cars around.
Thank
Wondered
you.
what they were. So, a nice presentation, thank you.
Thank you.
Where did the name come from?
It's sort of a play on words with the Park Cities. A lot of folks, sort of laugh at that they live in the bubble. But as we grew our business, more importantly, it's because we like to think we wrap you in the safety and protection of a bubble, like bubble wrap, if you will.
I like that too. Stephanie, you can squeeze your question in, no problem.
I was just curious, what does your cancellation fee look like? Say, that senior had something else come up, or a family event came up, or they moved. What does that look like for the contract side of things?
Well, our bubble clients don't actually have a contract with us. Their bubble packages do not expire, so to speak. But let's say they booked a ride for Tuesday. If they cancel it on Monday, there's no fee. But if they wait until Tuesday to cancel it, it's a $5 fee. And we actually schedule our rides because we schedule our drivers. All of our drivers are off-duty or retired police officers, and most of them are retired. So they're actually working with Bubbl because they want to be able to continue to serve the community, and the community benefits because you have the eyes and ears of a police officer in your community. But to your point, not everybody wants to work a 40-hour week, so we need to check with our drivers, Mike and Nick and Aaron, and find out which days they plan to work. So we look at our next week, and that's how we plan our schedule. And remember, our drivers are employees, so we have to account for their time on the clock.
So it's not a full ride charge, it's just the $5.
It's a fee. Now, if we're in front of your home and you cancel the ride, we would charge the full fee, yes.
Thank you. That was fantastic, Barbara. Let's give her a round of applause. Okay, so Barbara's going to stick around afterwards, so if you can get your question in, please do connect with her. She'd be happy to get to know you a little bit more. And so this is a moment where we're taking sort of a time for me to take announcements, or give announcements rather. So we want to thank our sponsors. We are sitting in Capital Factory, and the deck is also in this space as well. The Capital Factory is a for-profit business which originated in Austin, and they came to Dallas early this summer, I guess in July, took on this 20,000 square feet. This is an amazing space, 2 levels. If you would like to do a tour, they're in the business of helping startups. They're all tech startups. They also offer co-working space. So if your business is a fit within their model, you would definitely want to connect with them and see how you can grow your business and connect to the mentors that they have. They also have connections with a lot of VCs, and I believe they have their own funding as well. You'd have to talk to Luna, who's the operations manager of this space. She'd be happy to connect with you as well. And then the deck is in here, and the deck is a nonprofit business, which is sort of your first go-to resource as an entrepreneur in this city. They put on a lot of events as well, so you'll want to make sure that you connect with them online and make sure you're on their newsletter. They are our partners by allowing us to be in here every Wednesday and put on this event. So we definitely thank them. We also want to thank our video sponsor, who's our resident video sponsor, Michael K. Bruner. He's also one of the volunteer organizers on the 1 Million Cups team. So he's able to capture the video for us and put it onto the website. If you ever miss an event, you can definitely go to our website or to YouTube and capture the presentations you have missed. And we also want to thank our September sponsor for Coffee All Month, which is Dallas Baptist University. I always welcome Stephanie to the stage so she can share her message with you personally. So at this moment, I'd like to welcome Stephanie to the stage, please. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. I know I've seen a few of you faces here this month, and it's been so fun for us to join you guys. But Dawn and myself have been here, and we're just a part of Dallas Baptist University. We launched a new program as a master's degree. It's the Information Technology and Management program. And so, like many of you, we're a startup within our own school. And so it's been a really good, really successful program where it teaches people IT and how to manage that. So what does it look like to learn the gist of programming and technology, as well as management and leadership skills to guide a team in IT. And so many people are looking to get a master's degree, and advance their business or their startup company and what that looks like. And so we provide that service to you in a price-centered way to serve your community well in a business that's looking to expand. So we are here to help you, and yes, we do have a drawing. It's for a gift card to Starbucks. Everyone loves Starbucks. We have a $15 gift card, so if you drop your business card in the vase, what did we determine that? We'll do a little drawing at the end, and we'd love for you just to come visit or tour our campus. So I was telling a couple of you guys, last year they were voted one of the most beautiful campuses in America, and so each part of the building is a replica of some sort of building in either DC or Yale University, if that's in Monticello, or Yale University's resident halls. It's just a beautiful campus to come visit. So we encourage you to come out and visit, and we'd love to tour you around or just tell you a little bit more about our program. But yeah, we're excited that we were part of our September month here. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Great, so we do have free co-working in here today. If you decide that you'd like to stay, I just do ask that you make sure you sign in with Capital Factory. So there will be somebody sitting at the front desk, possibly Luna or maybe somebody else, but you need to sign in because it's a security issue. We need to know who's here if you're staying after 10:15. And the co-working is just sort of in that open space on the first level and around the back. And there's also going to be someone who will be doing some VR demonstrations. I don't know what time that'll be happening. It will probably be at 10:30 or later. I'll keep you posted. I'll make another announcement at the end of the session. Okay, so I would like to welcome our second presenter. He will also have 6 minutes to present, and then we'll do the 15 minutes of Q&A that we will lead. So he doesn't have to lead it on his own, although I know he can. We will lead it for you. Come to the stage and tell us about Cymatrax, please.
Yeah.
Let's give him a round of applause. Give some energy. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. First thing I want to ask everybody here, how many of you have studied neuroscience? Okay. Of course there is one. And how many have studied epigenetics? And how many people enjoy listening to music? There we go. So now we've got a whole broad base of why and what we've done. Putting together all of this science into the enjoyment of digital audio. What Cymatrax has done is taken and created software that will take a digital audio file and make it healthier for the listener. How do you make it healthier? I'm glad you asked. What we've done is, there we go. We've taken clinical trial data that is only 2 to 6 years old from Harvard Medical School, Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, MIT, and the Oxford Neurological Research Institute, where they have taken specific frequencies, applied them to the test subjects, and measured a higher cognitive ability. They've also defined other frequencies, such as white noise, as being detrimental to your cognitive ability. That's the reason why people listen to white noise to go to sleep. All of those frequencies are within all digital audio. So what we've done is create software that will take a digital audio file, analyze it, and within 5 seconds, create another data output file that is located where those good frequencies are, and then with our patented algorithm, we have created a way to reduce the amount of amplitude of the white noise in between so that without changing the quality of the recording, the user will have more energy, less stress, and a higher cognitive focus. Oops, there we go. So, showing the detriments of the white noise is just come out from the 2015 National Institute of Health clinical trial. And it does lessen every function that the brain does have. So the product, once again, is patent pending right now, software. And in doing so, we show them that there is a reduction of stress. The CDC is reporting that 85 to 90% of all disease is caused by stress. There is stress, there is white noise in all digital audio. And it's not just music. It's books on audio, podcasts, corporate training, online education. So what happens with the body is actually influenced by, and here we go into the neuroscience. The body is influenced by 4 environmental influences: chemical, heat, light, and sound. And sound has not even been addressed. We see what sound does by the way it goes in, and the process is called signal transduction. It'll go through the cytoplasm efficiently without the least amount of disbursement of the energy of that sound wave itself, so that it does communicate with the brain. The white noise actually vibrates, which is what we see within Cymatrax. And where you take the stereo speaker, lay it on its back, put a metal plate on top, pour fine sand on it, turn on an amplifier, turn on a frequency generator. And then if you look real close at the horizon of that metal plate, you'll see the sand is bouncing up and down until you modulate to a specific frequency, and then that sand will turn into a geometric pattern. And that's what we're showing, that the energy of that sound wave will travel efficiently from point A to point B, vertically, not horizontally, through the entire central nervous system and communicate with the brain. So we did a test on this. And there was a man, a Grammy Hall of Fame member, Sir Earl Toon, who was one of the founders of Kool and the Gang. Everybody remembers Celebration, right? He heard about this and said he had to see it himself. So he emailed me his latest digital master. I ran it through the software, put both versions on my phone. We met at a very quiet restaurant. We put on my studio headphones. And he listened to both versions without knowing which was which for about 8 minutes. After 8 minutes, he took off the headphones and he said, "Alan, I got to tell you the way it is. The first one was sweet. It was pinpoint clear. I could hear each and every note exactly. I had so much energy, I felt like I could dance all night long. The second one was murky. It just made me want to roll up into a ball and go to sleep." And I said, "The second one was yours." "Alan, this needs to be in every recording studio in the world." So what we've done then is, and I went to a friend of mine, dear friend, who is the one of the leading pediatric neurologists at UTSW, Pat Evans. She and I used to sing opera together at church. And I told her what I was doing. She thinks that we can use the software for autism. I concurred this with Dr. Powell also. So we do have markets, and we do have ways that this can be used in all digital audio. I can show you all these different avenues that we can do, but we're going to focus just on one, and how we can go into the market just as an app, or we can actually go into recording studios. So we do have also another version that can go into streaming media. Wow, 6 minutes goes by real fast.
So we're going to start Q&A. First question, as a community, what can we do for you?
You know, everybody could come up here and just ask for money to be able to go forward. What I'm looking for right now is actually partnerships. I came across this entire, I took the concept 4 years ago down to people at Dell, the chief software buyer, who is now the lead architect at Amazon. And he told me that it's amazing what you're doing. And had you come from software, you would not have been able to think of this. You'd be confined to think like all the other software developers. But your problem is going to be, you don't have any credibility. You don't have track history. You don't have anything to show for what you've ever done. Now then, once again, had you come from software, you would not have been able to think this. You'd be confined. So that's what I'm looking for right now. We have come up with all kinds of avenues. And let me tell you, the DEC and the Capital Factory have a fantastic mentor program. That's where I've gotten so much of my information over the past 18 months, dealing with people from Austin, sitting on a healthcare board of directors. I highly recommend you use them and engage in them. So what we're looking for is, I am listed as a CEO, but a COO, a CTO, just a vice president of sales, an EVP, somebody who wants to come in on this and work with us to be able to take this and go forward. We're open to all kinds of opportunities right now. It's a Texas S Corp. I'm the majority shareholder. Everything, it can be put out into equity, and we can, work from the grassroots up.
Thank you very much. Excellent product. It looks like it has a lot of promise. So what is your vision? I know you cruised very quickly through the channels to market and the go-to-market that you have, individual streaming companies and so on. But first, do you have any traction? Did you actually get it out in the market? Did you get any revenues? And B, second is where would you put your effort going forward in any of these channels?
Well, it's been recommended from the director of development from the Richards Group, whom I spoke with for about 30 minutes on what we're doing. Because of the limited funding, they can't come on board and say, we really do say that, and we'll put our name on it. So what we've come up with is to find a way to get it out to the market. And what so many investors have said to me so far was, we love it, I want to use it individually, sure, but we can't bring you into the investment portfolio of what we're doing, because we're all looking for a McDonald's and somebody to come along with a Burger King concept. What you're doing has never been done. So to show traction on this, what we're wanting to do is build an app around it, and I have a lot of it already written to launch as an app. We develop then and go out as a free app for the first, 100,000, 200,000 people. And we'll go only for the Android users. Now there's a lot of strategy behind this. Number one, the market over in Europe is much more higher percentage users of Android than there are Apple. Number two, they are much more open to complementary and alternative healthcare, which is exactly what this is all about. And then number three, once we do launch, within the first 2,000, and I've already got 1,500 users already lined up on Facebook. Once we hit 2,000, that'll set up the data analytics red flags so that Google, Apple, Microsoft, including major healthcare organizations are going to say, who are you, what are you doing, how much money do you need? Also, the iOS people will cry out, wait a second, what about us? We want to use it too. And I said, well, I don't have the money. Well, how much do you need? So we'll have some more partnerships coming that way. As I was showing also that after, let's say 100,000, we'll start charging them as a monthly subscription for 99 cents. And then version 2, which is very interesting. Version 2 of the software will actually give the user the ability to slide and increase the amount of the amplitude of the white noise being filtered out, which will be detrimental to music, but advantageous to books on audio, corporate training, podcasts, online education. I've got 2 podcasters right now that are actually using my software. And then on the bottom of their webpage it says, powered by Cymatrax. So, sorry.
What's the structure of the company now? I understand you're the sole proprietorship. Who's on your team right now? What's the structure of your company other than yourself?
Right now I have a legal firm of about 60 attorneys. One is here with me, the general counsel. Very fine, if not one of the best in the entire country, as my patent attorney, Wei Wei Jiang, with the same law firm. And then I have a chief technology officer that has developed the software, and that's it, and me.
Just a quick follow-up. I think what you described is a very clear, at least in your mind, direct-to-consumer strategy. But I would really, if I were to advise, I would probably ask you to take a step back and look very carefully at a B2B play, where you actually go through channels and not set any standards, especially from pricing. Pricing is a very, very, I think, tricky thing, especially when you start with free and try to upsell. There's a book called 1% Windfall that I recommend you browse through and read a little bit about pricing. It's very dangerous to lock yourself in a B2C or a direct-to-consumer with, and this is all about sharing ideas, so forgive me, a little bit of a hasty pricing strategy. So I'll take a step back and look at a B2B play, and if I were to go to do this direct-to-consumer, I would really pay attention to how I price and I roll out my versions of the product.
Right, well, so I already do have a B2B plan set out, once again, which is right there in the very center, the recording companies. I do have one studio down in Austin that is also licensed to use this at this time. Tomorrow I'm going down to Austin to speak with a potential partner of my company, and then we're going to go to an accelerator program because he thinks that everything that we're doing up here is ideal for what they want to be able to facilitate and fund, which would then take me to Austin, and we can go further than that. But we've also then got set up to be able to go to South by Southwest, to be able to license this into every single, not just recording studios, but I spoke with one of the executives of Deloitte about this, and he explained to me that the use of corporate training, that only 8 to 12% of people listening to corporate training are engaged in it. The next 40% only retain 30% of the information, and the last 50% are totally disengaged, wondering how they're going to get to the airport, what they're going to have for lunch, if the dog is going to lick their face when they get home. So the way that we can utilize this is to license it for them at a certain price point. And I believe, there we go. Showing them that we can go into, if it's just a corporation that's not distributed at a certain price, but once we get into the recording area, then we can go for pennies on every single recording that is sold. So we can go B2B with that. It just depends on the type of investor who comes to us and says, I think we should go this way, or if it is a business partner who wants to be part of the company, like a COO, who wants to be able to say, well, let's go this route, I know these people. See, I don't come from the industry, but as you can tell, I do have passion, and I'm really ready to give this to other people to say, well, let's make it happen. You've got the contacts, I've got the patent, and this is going to change the world. The people there that I talked to, the two neurologists and neurosurgeons and neuroscientists I spoke to about this said, it's absolutely logical. Once I start talking then about the sound wave going through the cytoplasm in a process called signal transduction, rewiring the synaptic nerves into a new subconscious programming, they go, where did you learn all this? Well, I've been studying it. And they have also said it's very logical what you're talking about, because as soon as you show any positive response in autism, then you can go for dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, PTSD, stroke, ADHD. And I keep on telling them, that's exactly what we're planning on doing. And then whenever you see my picture on the cover of Time magazine accepting the Nobel Peace Prize for Medicine, you can say, I knew him when. But that's what we want to do. We want to be able to give this to everybody. I mean, even the price point structure. 4.2 billion people listen to digital audio right now. If we just gave it to the world from now on, this technology, and showing, say, you can utilize this forever for $1. That's $4.2 billion immediately. There's not enough money that can be made with, I mean, it's just too much. There's no way that the people that I'm thinking about, what I want to be able to do, is to be able to bring this and give it to other people. So other questions?
One maybe critique or an observation. It might be more effective for your presentation if you were actually to play whatever you played for Earl 2 or something like that. Let us hear the difference too.
And that's what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing tomorrow with the two founders of the Accelerator program. I do have it up in the cloud, and it's not just me playing. Oh, on the website, sorry, I can address that. We do have a tab that says Take the Challenge. There's 7 different songs on there, column A and column B, 7 different genre of music. 92% of the 3,400 plus Facebook friends of mine who have gone and taken the challenge have come back and correctly identified which column has been treated with the software, not because of the way it sounds, but because of the way they feel.
Well then, to that point, let me ask this, and maybe this is a question for your general counsel or whatever. When you apply your software to Taylor Swift's record, and then, that's what's distributed, are you somehow mucking around with copyright at that point?
No, and it's just like the Remington firearms as well. I'm not doing it. I'm distributing and manufacturing something and giving it to the user. For this one, for recording studios, this would be something for Taylor Swift's recording studio. Okay, they would each individually have to be able to say, yes, we can do that. And that's what I'm saying. We can license it to her studio and then charge 2 to 3 cents for every single thing that's been distributed.
Then I guess if you're doing a B2C distribution, then wouldn't there be some sort of concern on the end user, and so that I want to hear Beyonce the way Beyonce made it. I don't want to hear Beyonce through a filter.
And that's an emotional subject that you...
It is,
yes.
but it affects my purchase decision.
But what I'm saying though, we're not talking about the emotion. We're talking about the physicality of the energy of the body to give yourself the human potential, optimal way of being able to think. So yeah, there's 2 different things about that. We're not dealing with the emotions, we are dealing with the physical transfer of the energy through the central nervous system. And
sure. And me as just a consumer, like, I trust Beyonce.
Okay.
She's gonna make me want to dance. I don't know you, and you're gonna muck with my jam. You're gonna mess with my music.
No, I'm not. That is a choice, as I said, that each individual will be able to see. Because when you look at the science showing that you can optimize your health, being able to focus. WFAA television, Channel 8, local ABC affiliate, had a conversation with one of their lead program producers. He told me, what you're doing with your software is absolutely brilliant, but we can't use it at the station because we do just the opposite. We add white noise to the track so that whenever the user is watching the television station, it hypnotizes them so they won't change the station, so our Nielsen ratings go up so we can charge more to the sponsor. And I got that validated from LA's recording studio saying every network does that. So now that you know that anytime you listen to any type of digital recording, we can make it better for you.
We have another question somewhere. Who has the mic? Okay, in the back.
Very interesting. One question is, do you want to pursue the B2C market in general or medical market? Because I think pursuing those 2, or maybe others as well, that is a very different process and business. So,
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, okay, so when I met with Dr. Powell about this, he said, what you're doing is absolutely logical. Everything you've got lined up, I want to do your clinical trials for autism. But we need to raise money. We need to raise $1 to $3 million. And the way we can do that, so when I talked with my friend, Dr. Pat Evans about this, she then recommended, yes, it should be used, and it's logical to work with autism. So I contacted Autism Speaks, the largest independent funding group for autism in the United States. And I said, here's my software. I want you guys to have it and use it for clinical trials. They said, thank you very much, but we don't do clinical trials. We just raise money for it, but we got a guy for you in Dallas. His name is Dr. Craig Powell. So with that recommendation is how I got in to see and talk and meet with him. I didn't know him. I don't know anybody in the field. But with their recommendation, that's what happened. And he met and he said, okay, so this is what we can do to raise money. We do social trials. We go to SMU or some other college. We get 20 college students. We run their playlist through your software, and then we have somebody monitor a 6-day trial, social trial, 2 days, 2 hours a day. And then all we have to do is just get 55% positive response of using your software. 55% would be enough to submit to the scientists at Autism Speaks, and they would fund the trial.
They would fund it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So we were involved with a project where we developed. We were involved with Smart Sleep. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a headband that you wear, developed by Philips Healthcare.
Right.
So we were involved with that, and one of the things that it did was it helps you sleep better through different tones and the way that it interacts with the brain signals. Mm-hmm. Is that something? Is that a product that you've looked at as a similar in terms of how it helps? The whole idea behind that is that it allows a person to feel like they got 8 hours of sleep with only 4 hours of actual sleep. It gets them into the REM level of sleeping a lot faster and allows them to stay in that state for a longer period of time. So would that relate to what you've done a little bit as well?
No, because once again, what I'm doing is being able to raise the energy level instead of lessening it. We are trying to take away white noise, which is, once again, lessening all the cognitive abilities. And we're talking about, the manufacture of dopamine and other essential chemicals that go through the body, much less than causing a vibration within the central nervous system throughout the entire cellular structure, which then reduces the amount of the resources of the brain's ability to be able to think. If you look at white noise, it is millions of frequencies within, let's say, an auditory system. It can be upper or lower, but let's just look at it right here. And that's the reason why that sounds like rushing water. And it sounds like, if you have just one tone, the brain can identify that very quickly. But when you put all this data, the brain is, let's say it's working like a computer, and you've got 4 or 5 different things going on in your head, and you're trying to go to sleep. Well, you put white noise into it, and then what does that do? It actually then is like uploading huge amounts of data to the computer and slows down the processor and slows everything else down, slowing down those 4 or 5 thoughts that you have in your head. So thereby, you're lessening everything the brain is doing, and you will go to sleep.
Is this something that could be built into like a Yamaha or Bose receiver? And have you actually talked to those people about licensing it to them?
Good question. I've actually spoken with a vice president of sales of a North American silicon chip manufacturer. He says, well, can't we just take your algorithm and put it into a chip? Yes! Let's do it. I mean, that way it would be in every single computer, every single radio, every single cell phone. I mean, think about it. I just don't, like I said, I don't know anybody. I'm looking for partners to come in to make the phone calls, to make the connections so that we can do that. That's what I'm asking for. That's why I'm here. If you know of anybody, I've got my cards over there. talk to me later. I mean, I'm open to any type of suggestion. I've been working on this project for 4 years. 2 years has been nothing but research and asking a lot of questions, making appointments with mentors from the Capitol Factory and the DEC. And they've just been great. They've all said, sounds great, sign me up. But we have to see it come to market before we invest in it. So getting back to what you're saying about the B2B, sure. Who do I know? Who do I know at Spotify? We could take this to them. And it's, or, I mean, once again, as an app, we could use it as a version 3 of the app. Or we could take it to Spotify, they use it as a plug-in, and just put it out to their 100 million users immediately. And we just charge, what, a nickel per month?
Welcome, Roberto.
Hey!
That's great. You know, thank you so much for your presentation. We've gone over time.
Oh, wow.
And we need to give him a round of applause because that was very engaging. There are more questions. Thank you so much. You're welcome. So we do have time to still, you know, hang out here, and thank you all for staying. We usually finish at like 10:05, but we did go over time today because we all took a little while to get here, and we still have the space. So it was the weather, yeah. Well, people have questions for you, so please stick around. I know for sure Kelvin in the blue shirt back there had a question, but we had to cut him off. Sorry, Kelvin. But yes, stick around, get your questions in. Barbara's still here as well. She's got a table at the front here with a few goodies there. Definitely come and ask her questions. Alan is here with Cymatrax. He's got his business cards right here. You can stick around to co-work. Again, I'm going to say if you're, you know, you attend 1 Million Cups, you can stay on Wednesdays and sign in. There's a sign-in sheet at the edge of the bar there. You do need to put your name on that sheet and get one of these stickers. Write your name on it, and then you can stay and make sure you stay on the first floor though. There will be a tour happening in about 10 minutes. Just, again, meet at the front area there, and Luna will make an announcement that she'll give the tour.
If you haven't taken the tour, it's well worth it.
There you go, a testimonial. Thanks. Anyone have any questions for us or for me? Oh yes, we're gonna do the draw. Okay, so Gigi won the prize from DBU. Remember to use the app to give feedback to the presenters, please. Thank you.